This is it. I'm going, I can feel it. What was it doing? Stare with the eyes.
The film opens with a laboratory rat having its head cut off. Shortly afterward, an advertisement for the pharmaceutical company Blackwood appears on an elevator screen, showing supposedly happy people. Inside the elevator is Claire, who is a test subject in a pharmaceutical experiment. She heads to an underground laboratory where she meets Allison, another volunteer who talks excessively.
You sure have run a lot for 5 days. I've never really done anything like this before. Fine, this is probably the worst too.
Allison, sorry, I've had a pretty rough night.
Suddenly, a voice calls all participants to the examination room. Inside the room, there is no phone signal or internet access. A doctor named Dr. Burke enters and explains that the volunteers will receive a dose of the drug and remain isolated until its effects wear off. Everyone receives their doses, and Claire, feeling anxious and uneasy, takes the pills with a bad premonition. Later, during a meal, Claire socializes with the other participants. One of them, Ray, asks if she joined the trial for the money, and she answers yes. Vanessa, another volunteer, refuses to engage in conversation and leaves the table. After the meal, the test subjects undergo more examinations. Exhausted, Claire struggles to tolerate her roommate Allison's nonstop talking. Soon, Claire begins to feel sick and goes to the bathroom to vomit. On her way out, she meets Amir, a young medical student, who says he is concerned about the drug's effects. That night, Claire realizes she cannot fall asleep. She gets up and discovers all the participants gathered in a room, sharing the same symptom, insomnia. The next morning, the volunteers undergo another round of tests. They have been awake for over 30 hours and try to pass the time playing chess and ping pong. In the laboratory, Dr. Burke contacts the central office, reporting unexpected symptoms and stating that part of the participants' brains has grown significantly in just one day. The central abruptly hangs up on her, suggesting the situation is serious.
All that growth occurred during one scan. Hello?
Meanwhile, Allison and Claire observe the lab rats and compare themselves to them, saying that the animals have the same value as the human volunteers. Later, Dr. Burke announces that from that point on, the purpose of the experiment is to analyze how long the subjects can stay awake. Claire undergoes an MRI scan, but her childhood trauma resurfaces. Her mother used to lock her in her room, which made her claustrophobic. The experience leaves Claire emotionally numb. Allison tries to calm her by humming the Tetris theme song, and although it is extremely annoying, it manages to make Claire laugh. The following day, Dr. Burke increases the drug dosage even further, causing the volunteers to consider quitting. However, she announces that anyone who continues will receive a €30,000 bonus. Like gold-hungry opportunists, they accept. Only Claire and Amir remain visibly concerned. The others even throw a party to celebrate, while Claire feels increasingly uneasy, sensing that something is wrong. Despite this, Allison's persistence convinces her to join the celebration. During the dancing, everyone suddenly begins to feel sleepy. Dr. Burke watches closely and urgently contacts the central office again, pleading for the test to be stopped after new results show the subjects are rapidly deteriorating. Her request is denied. In the lounge, the volunteers discuss how they will spend their money. Claire nearly falls asleep, but is awakened by Allison, who suggests that they live together after the trial. Claire dismisses her, which angers Allison. In the hallway, Amir overhears the doctors talking behind a door. He sees Dr. Burke leave and sneaks into the office, where he examines the test results and is deeply shocked by what he finds. Back in the lounge, Claire decides to talk to Allison, but as she approaches, Allison begins to bleed and convulse before collapsing dead on the floor. Dr. Burke witnesses the entire scene. Suddenly, an alarm sounds, announcing a total lockdown of the area. Everyone rushes to escape, but Dr. Burke becomes trapped in the door and has her abdomen crushed. The volunteers manage to pull her back, but it is too late.
Amir then arrives with devastating news. The volunteers' brains have been overloaded, and if they shut down suddenly, the subjects will die. This means sleeping is forbidden. He also explains that the company's isolation system lasts 24 hours and that the doors are impenetrable. They must endure the entire period awake or die. Amir leads them to the laboratory and gives them aromatic substances to help mask their drowsiness. He warns them not to use stimulants, as these could cause them to suddenly shut down. The test subjects do everything they can to stay awake. Amir uses a laptop to monitor Claire's brainwaves. She is still traumatized by Allison's death. The readings appear unstable, but Amir does not want to worry her and instead reassures her. Later, Claire walks through the corridor and hears her mother's lullaby echoing in her mind. She records a video apologizing to her mother, despite calling her nothing more than a drunk. She then goes to the lab and releases one of the rats. Frightened, the animal returns to the comfort of its cage. Meanwhile, Ray argues with the others, demanding more aromatics after using up his supply. They refuse, and tensions among the group begin to rise. In the office, Amir works relentlessly and starts experiencing hallucinations, but he remains focused on finding a way to keep everyone alive. Claire continues to hear the lullaby, as if coming from beyond, until she is interrupted by Marcus. She asks how he seems to be holding up so well. He tells her about a time when he was camping alone, fell and broke his leg, and was forced to keep walking despite the cold and isolation. He survived and learned a lesson about resilience. Claire later searches a computer and finds her personal profile in the company system, classifying her as having self-destructive behavior. This discovery leaves her deep in thought. Meanwhile, Marcus is in the bathroom when he notices the sounds around him becoming distorted. He begins to hallucinate, sees the iron door opening, and follows it outside. He had briefly fallen asleep, and that mistake costs him his life. The remaining subjects panic as they witness yet another person succumb. Completely exhausted, Claire goes to the kitchen and turns on the stove. She notices that the little rat has finally left its hiding place, which inspires her to do the same. She places her hand on the flame, snapping herself out of her drowsiness. Soon afterward, she gathers everyone and urges them to find a way out of their nightmare. Claire proposes breaking through a wall to reach the outside, but Amir disagrees, explaining that the facility is a bunker reinforced with iron. Despite his warning, they attempt to break the wall and quickly realize he was right. This only deepens Ray's suspicion of Amir, as he seems to know too much, possibly making him part of the experiment. Paul also begins to distrust Amir. Back in the lab, Claire confronts Amir, but he confesses that everything is his fault and hands her a note. He admits that he triggered the lockdown by accessing confidential data without authorization. Claire reassures him, reminding him of how important he is. Amir then comes up with an idea. He plans to simulate methyl chloride poisoning in order to reverse the drug's effects. Claire believes in him and allows him to work. However, as she leaves, she encounters Paul, who warns her not to trust Amir. She dismisses his concerns until Paul shows her an empty vial of stimulant he found among Amir's belongings, the same substance Amir warned everyone not to take. Suddenly, the power is cut. Claire and Paul rush to the circuit breaker. Claire begins to hallucinate but manages to restore the power, saving Paul, who is on the verge of falling asleep. Shortly afterward, Amir appears, and Paul starts questioning him. Amir goes uncomfortable until Ray suddenly punches him. They tie Amir up and plan to interrogate him, threatening to cut off one of his fingers every time he lies. Claire screams that Amir might have the cure.
Amir explains that it is not a cure, but a temporary measure that could help them survive. Ray remains suspicious, but Claire volunteers to be the test subject. Amir explains how to prepare the compound, and they begin the process. Meanwhile, in the corridor, Vanessa confronts Ray and reveals that she saw him cut the power. Ray claims he needed Amir to fall asleep to prove he had not taken the drug. Vanessa says she will keep quiet and suggests administering a sedative to Amir instead, believing it would be more effective. Back in the lab, Amir warns that if the experiment fails, Claire will die. Despite the risk, she accepts it. Paul announces that the formula is ready, and Claire prepares herself. Vanessa seizes the opportunity and approaches Amir with the intention of administering the sleeping agent. However, she begins to hallucinate and sees the figure of death standing in her path. While trying to help Paul, she accidentally knocks over the formula, destroying their last hope. Vanessa is dead. Amir then starts laughing, which infuriates Claire. He goes on to say that they are now literally laboratory rats, about to be discarded. Claire realizes that he is desperate rather than cruel. She leaves, and as she walks through the corridors, she begins to hallucinate. She records another message for her mother and starts to float. Realizing she is drifting into sleep, she desperately searches for her inhalant, uses it, and narrowly escapes death once again. Feeling her way along the wall, Claire notices a hollow section and calls Paul. Together, they break through it and discover an autopsy room, followed by a heavy iron door. Meanwhile, Amir continues to hallucinate visions of Dr. Burke, who tells him to escape, not to trust the others, and points out a knife lying on the floor. At the same time, Ray, standing beside Vanessa's body, finds the note Amir had given to Claire, in which he confessed to causing the lockdown. In the autopsy room, Paul realizes that the iron door leads outside and tries to convince Claire to leave with him, abandoning the others behind. Back in the lab, Ray enters and grabs a scalpel, intending to kill Amir, who is trying to reach the knife. At the last second, Amir breaks free, causing Ray to slash his own neck. Amir then grabs the knife and brutally stabs Ray to death. Claire and Paul arrive, but Amir is completely lost in his hallucinations. Claire and Paul run, and Paul shuts the door behind him, leaving Claire trapped. Amir lunges at Claire with the knife, but she is saved at the last moment by the powerful magnet of the MRI machine. Meanwhile, Paul enters what he believes to be an elevator. He begins recording a video, only to realize too late that it is not an elevator at all, but a cremation chamber. Paul is incinerated alive. Amir manages to retrieve the knife, but both he and Claire are utterly exhausted. Just as they are about to fall asleep, the isolation protocol ends and the doors finally open. Amir walks toward the exit and encounters men dressed in white, but they are armed. A gunshot echoes. Amir is dead. Now they search for Claire. With a stroke of improbable luck, she manages to hide. She moves through the corridor and sees Amir's corpse sealed inside a body bag. Claire smears herself with his blood and crawls into a body bag as well. The plan works, and she is loaded into a van along with other corpses. Still hallucinating, Claire finally sees sunlight again. She sits up to look through the van's windshield, terrifying the driver, who loses control of the vehicle and causes it to overturn. Claire frees herself and stumbles outside, only to collapse unconscious in the middle of the road. Years later, Claire lies in a coma, while a news report on television states that the pharmaceutical company Blackwood has been cleared of all charges related to the experiment that left 5 people dead and 1 person in a coma. At that moment, Claire's eyes slowly open. This is the end. My friends, if you've made it this far, comment with the phrase, "I wake up in the middle of the night to pee." Hit the like button and subscribe to help an unemployed person. Until next time, bye-bye.